Hello, welcome to this tutorial. So in a few minutes, we are going to create an application that displays data on a web page, allowing users to add, delete, update, and edit in few minutes and without writing a single line of code. We've started a solution or an application in Visual Studio in the previous tutorial, but for the sake of people who are joining just now, I'm going to repeat the process. So just say new project and then choose ASP.NET Web Application, give it a name. I call it EF class because this is EF class, Entity Framework class. So leave it with MVC and just say OK. So it takes some time, a few seconds, and then it opens up the application. Before then, I remind you, subscribe. Just look at the subscribe button and click on the subscribe button there, so that you receive notification when I make new videos. Also leave a comment if you have any. So at this point we have a new application created. So what we are going to do next is to add entity data model. But before then, let's quickly look at our database to make sure that they are there. SQL Server Management Studio. So one thing I want to check in the database is to make sure that the table has a primary key defined, and if it's not defined, go ahead to define it. So go to databases, and then we are working with Tutorial DB, and we have this people table we are working with. So if I look at the design, so we see a primary key is defined. So you have this key next to ID shows primary key is defined. So we're all good to go. So here in Visual Studio, the next thing you are going to do is to add Entity Framework to this application. So right click on the project and just say add, and just say, or you can just say right click on the project, just click on manage NuGet packages. It takes you to this place. So click on this browse tab in the NuGet packages manager window, click on the browse tab, and then here you can type entity framework as one word. So it comes out. So this is it. So here you have version 6.2.0. Don't install this. So drop down and select 6.0.0 to install. Okay, select 6.0.0 to install. So everything is fine. So just click on install. Our system should be connected to the internet for you to complete this. So I'm going to click OK. So it installs Entity Framework for me, and if everything is okay, you can see the output window says finished, right? So I'm going to go ahead to close this window. After installing Entity Framework, just click on Build and just build solution. If everything is okay, it tells you one succeeded, nothing failed. So now we've added Entity Framework. The next thing we are going to add is Entity Data Model. Entity Data Model actually is a connection to our database. So what you are going to do now, right click on the project and just say add, just say new item. So in the list of items, choose data and then choose ADO.NET Entity Data Model. Right, that is the first one. I'm calling it people model. You can give any name you like and then click add. Choose the first one, EF Designer from database. So this approach is called database first approach because we already have database. So click new connection. So new connection will allow us to create a definition to define a connection to the database. So here we drop down to select the server name, which is actually a local server. So this is a server name, and then drop down here to select the database. I think the database is Entity Framework DB. Yeah. So test connection is Entity Framework DB or Tutorial DB. I can't remember, so I choose Tutorial DB test connection. Okay, so just go next. So Tutorial DB entities, that is fine. Go next. So at this point we have the object in the database. It tries to connect to the object in the database. So drop down the tables and choose people. And that is the table we created. And just go ahead to click on finish. So at this point, it adds the entity data model file called that has an extension .edmx to our solution. So for a few seconds it will add. Now I just take a few seconds to remind you to subscribe if you have not done so. So this is the edmx diagram, but if you look at your solution, you see people model.edmx. So this is the diagram. Later I'm going to show you how to make changes to your database right from here. So we've added entity data model. The next thing we are going to do, we want to create a controller to display a web page. So what we are going to do is to come to controllers, and then you right click and then choose add and then choose controller. So we want to use not this one, but we want controller with views using entity framework. Views means the pages, so it's going to actually create the page for us for free without having to write code. So model class, we are going to select the model class, and at this point we have person EF class. So let me just show you where this model class exists. So if you come to this edmx file and you drop down, you can see person.cs. When I was explaining object relational mapping, you can see the C# file. It's exactly the class that mirrors or that matches the table in the database. So that is our model class. So let's go back, controller, add, controller, and then we use this one, the type one, and then we say okay, the model class is actually person, and then the data context is only one data context. Alright, so after now you want to select the layout page or master page for this application. So that you are going to select from here. You are going to use layout page, so click on this and then choose views, drop down, choose shared and choose layout.cs HTML. So at this point you just say okay. So at this point we are good to go, so add. So at this point it will generate the page for us. There was an error. Okay, before I add the view I need to rebuild. Okay, so rebuild. Yeah, that is fine. So after adding the edmx file you actually need to rebuild. So now let's just add back the controller. So we have this and then we have this. So this is the data context class and this we have person and we have every other thing inside. So we wait for a couple of seconds. The scaffolding means it's generating the page for us. So if everything works fine, we'll have the controller as well as the view generated. So everything worked fine. Again, we are going to click on build and then rebuild. Everything worked fine. So at this point we have, let me just show you, under the views we now have people, right? And we have index. So in the controller file, we will talk about it later, it's been generated and we have this part of the code that says get people is a comment, and this method here that says index return db.people.toList returns the list of people. Alright, so let's go ahead to click on run to see how far we've gone and see if this thing actually worked. So at this point we expect it to display the home page. Okay, so the next thing is to go to people. Alright, so this is a list of people. So this is exactly what we've done. So everything worked fine. So we can actually edit. We can add new and so on and so forth. So I hope this has been informative for you. It's been very simple. The next tutorial, I'm going to explain a little bit about the model view controller architecture, and then we also try to see how we can make this application look better. Thank you for viewing, and remember to click on the subscribe button below. If you have questions, leave it right in the comment box below.